Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm here with Supowitz. John is a content creator for Fantasy Pros and Betting Pros NFL. John has over 10 years in the sports media world and sports content creation. From anchoring to content creation to writing, he's well versed in his 10 years in sports media. So, with all that said, welcome to the channel, John.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
No problem. John, I asked you to come up here because I want to talk about content creation because everywhere you look, you're hearing content creation, people putting out videos, dancing, singing, tutorials, all different type of things, and it's really putting a move in their career. So I wanted to talk to somebody. Why is it so important to know about content creation in this era?
I think the important thing is about if you want to if you want to make many moves in media, I think content creation is extremely important in that it's kind of the way any form of media is shifting towards. It's social media, it's online content, it's promoting a personal brand. So whether or not you're just a writer or you are trying to do video, just kind of learning the craft of making videos, of making content is extremely important because just that's how the landscape has shifted in this industry is promoting the personal brand and having your name out as a trusted source and picking up, followers and viewers and things like that.
Alrighty. Now let's talk about you and your career a little bit. You started your career back in 2013 with ESPN as a
Hmm.
highlight editor.
Hmm.
What sparked your interest in editing? Because most people who work in sports media, they want to anchor, they want to be a sideline reporter, they want to do stuff like that, but not really editing. So what made you want to be an editor?
If we're being honest, it was an opportunity at ESPN. That's what I was looking for. I live in Connecticut, so it was easy for me to, for the commute. I always wanted to work at ESPN. I think any person generally who wants to, get into sports wants to work at ESPN. So for me, it was lucky enough. I found this opportunity and the one thing is I never thought I would want to be an editor, but I found my love of editing through that. And that kind of pushed me to want to do it later on in my career. And I thought that was going to kind of be a gateway for me. I was going to be at ESPN. I'm going to establish myself at ESPN. I'm going to be an ESPN lifer. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. You've seen ESPN in the news having layoffs, and unfortunately, very early in my tenure there, I was part of one of those layoffs.
Hmm. How much, since 2013, when you first started with ESPN to now, how much has editing changed with social media being added to it?
So it's changed. It changes a lot, and it shifts, and it moves every few years. Eh, so I would say back when I started, and I think it still kind of goes for more professional things. It's clean and smooth transitions. Sort of, you want it to look, you want it to flow, but we've seen a lot of social media, with TikTok. It kind of brought this to the forefront is jump cuts. So when I started, jump cuts were a no-no. Like it's not supposed to look like you made that cut right there. But that's sort of become the style now with TikTok and sort of like this standalone stand-up type of media. And I think it has a lot to do with people just wanting to put out content and not really knowing all the terms and nuances of how to properly edit things. So it's just like, well, I don't want to have space on it. So let me just make it look like I just edited it, just whatever. So I think that's something that's changed so much. And it's also a lot of the attention span of people has gotten shorter. It just is what it is. You've seen it, again, Vine back in the day were 7-second videos and it was a big thing. Even TikTok started with under a minute. Now they've gone to longer form content, and longer form content is actually starting to become popular, but people's attention spans they're still short. They want to be They want to be hooked in the first 5 seconds. That's what everyone says when it comes to you're trying to make a video to catch the viewer's eye is within that first 2 seconds, you have to find a way to hook me in. And whether it be the hook itself, give me a give me a question that I have already had in my head and tell me you're going to answer it. Or it could even be something as small as, you take a prop. So I'll take my prop here and I just kind of flash it. It You may not think it catches somebody's eye, but doing something small like that just kind of catches you. It's like, oh, wait, I'm in. Now I'm going to hear what he says for a couple seconds. Oh, maybe I'm hooked in. So that's kind of where editing is at this point right now.
Now, you're more of a professional at this. Is it harder for professionals to get the same viewership as someone who is like 16, decided to put a video of them dancing to whatever, catchphrase song is on, and they get a million views? Is it more difficult to compete with them?
Yeah, I if you don't keep up with what those people are doing, then yes, I think there are a lot of people in this industry who I've met who I still know they don't need to do that. They're already establishing themselves to where I don't need to do all that. And they still because they still have the following, they still have the viewership. But then there's people who tend to kind of stay away from it and they do kind of fall by the wayside. But your audience is going to look for what you're trying to provide in that I'm a sports guy. So the audience that I want to capture are sports fans, people that are interested in sports. So I'm trying to find those like-minded people. Why, like you're saying, the 16-year-old kid that just wants to do a dance and things, that's not my audience. So I think if you make sure to try and engage with the audience that you're looking for, you're going to retain those viewers. You're going to keep those people. So, and necessarily just try to tailor to your audience.
Tell it to your audience. Now, I came across your LinkedIn page and I followed you for a while before I
Mhm,
sent you the email to
mhm,
try to get this interview set up. You
mhm.
promote content creators from all variety of things to network with each other. Why is networking such an important tool with doing content creation?
Because you may not believe it but this is a very, very, it's a very, we're all inclusive. You know, you you definitely need to know people in order, and it'll only help you. And I know people that work in all facets of media, that work in all parts of the country. And the one thing about this job is too, is we tend to move around. We find different places to work. So we're always moving around. And you never know what could happen with that connection. I always tell people, don't be afraid. What's the worst that's going to happen if you send a message to somebody with that are doing the type of job that you want to do? What's the worst thing that can happen is they don't respond. All you do is just send, hey, so and so, you're doing this job. I'm also interested in doing this job. Can you answer me a few questions? And sometimes you may not get a response. I still do it. Doesn't even matter how long I've been working here. I still like try to connect with people and I don't get responses sometimes. But you could get that response. For me, when I get them from people, I try to respond to all of them. I get a lot of them. I try to do my best to answer all of them just because I know what it was like starting in this industry. You kind of feel like not enough of schooling can prepare you for sometimes what the expectations are of this industry. But connecting with people and learning, and you never know what it could turn into. Again, that person, they're fresh in you're fresh in their mind. So down the line, I'm not saying immediately, years down the line, it could be they could have a different position where they're hiring people they're all, you've always kept in contact with them, and it's like, oh, let me talk to this person. I know he's into this. I've seen some of their work. They know I Let me see if they would be a perfect fit for this company. So again, just keeping a network, keeping in contact with people, just making relationships can be huge for yourself in this industry.
Why is us as society taking an interest now, not now, but in the last like 2, 3 years in content creation? Because YouTube in 2007 looks very different now. So why are we now obsessed with it? Is it the money that can come from it, the fame of it, or people really just want to connect to the outside world?
I think it's a little bit of everything. Again, there is potential money in it. With brand dealerships and ad revenues from TikTok and YouTube and Instagram, all these, they do pay their content creators, and I think it's a little bit of, yes, I think a little bit people do want the notoriety that comes with being a social media star. It's kind of like years and years ago how people wanted to be movie actors or musicians or things like that. But now, back then, it's tough to become a movie star. You'd have to move to Hollywood and audition and things like that. Now, to be a social media star, it's only one video away. It's one single upload. You're one single upload away from tens of thousands, even millions of followers. So I think that's part of the allure of wanting to create content. I think, and for a lot of people too, it's just they love doing it. I see, people who, I follow all different types of people on social media, people that are doing like interesting videos of, graphics and certain art designs and things like that. They do that because they love doing it. But again, the opportunity to have people look at their product is part of it. But again, I think one of the hugest parts is that why people want to create content is because it's so easy now just to become a notable figure.
Hmm. Now, you're not just a video editor, you're not just a writer, you're not just a content creator. You do it all. How important is it to stay well versed in different topics and different avenues of content creation in this era we're in?
Extremely, because back in the day, there was a person who did every job. There was a person for every single task. There was, I take of it as like a local news anchor. When I started college, a local news anchor only had to worry about talking in front of a camera. That was it. Now, every local news anchor is their own camera person, is
Well,
their own editor. It does They have to do everything, and they have to do everything every single day, multiple times a day. So now, because the job is, they're not hiring people for those specific types of tasks anymore. It's no longer a team. You are the team. So I always tell younger people when they're trying to get into the industry is you got to know everything, because that's what these jobs are requiring. They're requiring you to know how to speak in front of a camera. They're requiring you to know how to edit the videos. They're requiring you to know, how to present yourself. So you need to have these skills before you ever even think about getting a job. But it's also, maybe your dream job isn't available right now, but something else could be, and that could be your foot in the door. I know a lot of people who have started off as editors or researchers at a certain place, and they've moved up into anchors and broadcasters.
I'm like laughing at my next question because I think you just posted something yesterday about this.
Okay.
A lot of people don't want to start their page or start their channel because they don't feel like they have something unique about them. And that stops them or stalls a lot of people. What do you say to
Mhm.
those people?
Just do it. That's it. Just do it. it's you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be excellent when you first start this. I wasn't. I recently saw my air checks from when I was in college, and I was terrible, like absolutely terrible. But it's the famous thing about putting in your 10,000 hours. I put in over 10,000 hours in front of a microphone, and so I've learned sort of how to present myself and do all that. So you're not going to be great when you first start this. No one is. It's just, and again, there is a tendency to be fearful in front of a microphone. That's just the way it is. That's one of people's biggest fears, is presenting in front of people, and I understand that. But as you do more of it, you get more comfortable. So anybody who tells me like how I'm nervous to start my page, just do it. Just do it. Trial by fire. Continue to go back and look at what you're doing. How can you fix certain things? What am I doing wrong here? And again, like I said, networking. I still, when I do certain things, like certain projects that I haven't done before, I'll go to some of my old mentors, like some professors that I've had years ago, and say, hey, can you kind of tell me what you think of this? Just kind of give me your opinions. So it doesn't matter if you're just starting or you're a veteran. It's good to get that type of feedback. So I'm saying just start now, simply.
This next question, I think you know the answer to it. I know the answer to it.
Okay.
How frustrating is that first beginning stages of content creation? Because you're putting the content out there. Everyone says put something out there, but you're not getting the numbers in return. You spend 2 hours editing a video just to get 3 views back. What do you say to those people who say it's not worth the investment anymore?
too. It's just it's everything, you never know, especially now with the way that these things are. It's so tough sometimes.
Girl, we'll figure it out.
All right.
Asking you is, I know how hard it is. You know how hard it is. Content creation. You can spend hours and hours editing videos and making sure it's perfect and looking up different tips of how to make your video and your content better, only to get 2 views back. And that can go from a month of doing that and only get that return, or 2 years still not get the return you want. How frustrating is those beginning stages?
Extremely. It's frustrating because the problem is you're seeing everything through the rose-colored glasses of you're seeing viral videos. That's what you're looking at, and there's a reason why you're looking at that, because it's the most popular ones, and that's what these social media apps are pumping out. They're pumping out them, they see that these videos are getting traction, so they send it to more people. You're not always seeing the people who are getting 200 views every single video that they make. So through that, you think that you're getting frustrated because it's like, well, why are they blowing up and I'm not? So I would say don't forget that most of the people that are pumping out videos are only getting to 200 views. But uh, even the people that started that are big, huge stars now, same thing. The beginning of their content wasn't good. They were only getting, a small number of views to start, but they kept working. They kept seeing what wasn't working for them. What do I need to change? How do I get better? And that's through looking at like-minded videos. What are your constituents doing? Not saying let me copy it exactly, but let me look at their structure and let me put my spin on it. So basically, it's going to start out that way. You're not going to get a lot of views. It's very tough from the start to blow up and go viral. It's just you have to continue to work at it. And there's a lot of people who have said, I was posting videos for years until I got my first big viral video. So I would say don't worry about it. Just get through it and keep working and find out what works, for you.
All right, let's swing it more back to you.
Mhm.
Looking back on the last 10 years of your career, what has been, or a pinpoint moment, and you was like, this was worth it. This was the most rewarding thing that I've could have done so far.
I made a decision after ESPN. I wasn't finding another job. And I was kind of getting frustrated. And I said, well, I have to find a way to get back into the industry. So I went back to school. Simple enough. I went back to school. I went back and got my master's degree in sports journalism. And it was the best decision I ever made because I learned more things that I didn't know going into, when I left, my bachelor's degree. So, and through that, after that, I got one job working in production for a minor league baseball team. And then that snowballed into other production jobs. And then while I was at school, I started a fantasy football and sports betting blog. And I loved doing it so much that even after this project, I kept going. And it actually was doing pretty well. It got some traction. And so it helped me hone in the craft of writing. And so when I started applying for other writing jobs, I was starting to get them. I worked at Bro Bible as their sports betting and fantasy sports content creator. And then it's moved into NBC Sports. So through NBC Sports, and then I got the job at Fantasy Pros. So it just through learning the craft even better than I had known before, it helped me propel my career to where I'm at now.
Besides the fact that this is your job and your daily living, what has been a motivation, or what has inspired you, or a person that inspired you to keep going?
My family. It's I just had a daughter. My daughter's 1 year old now.
But
And you know this is what I want to do with my life. This is my career. This is how I make a living. This is how the roof stays over our head and, the food goes in our stomach. So I can't and it's no longer just about me anymore. It's now about my family. So that's the biggest motivational factor. And I think for anybody else, obviously not everybody's a parent. You have to find that one thing that's going to continue to motivate you. Whether, people have doubted you your whole life, or just you want to find your purpose in life. I think to keep going, you need to find that motivation, because I think if you don't have it and you go through the frustrations, I think it'll incline you to quit if you don't have that motivation. So I think everybody needs to find it.
Last question.
Mhm.
With all the editing tools and all the new social media that we're being exposed to now, are we seeing social media in its peak, or is there more to discover?
I think that there's going to be more to discover that we just don't know yet. I think we thought 10 years ago, 15 years ago, oh, MySpace is it. MySpace is the thing. That's all it's going to be, and then we just kept moving further and further. And then we thought, oh, Facebook and Twitter are the thing, writing is going to be the thing. And then Instagram comes along and it's, oh, wow, showing pictures are going to be the thing. And then video social media came out with Vine and TikTok, and now it's all about making videos. I think, as we're seeing, virtual reality is going to be, is starting to kind of move in. I think that's probably going to be part of it. What kind of content can we create that's going to fully submerge you into the environment? So that's just my prediction.
Hmm.
But we always believe that right now this is as best as it's going to get, but then we always see it something new always comes out. So there's always going to be something new. And the thing is, you always got to keep up with it.
All right. So I usually do like a bonus question for my guest. You're from
Okay.
Connecticut.
Mhm.
What is one spot, a bar, museum, a restaurant, a park, wherever it is? What is one spot in Connecticut when people come to Connecticut they gotta check out?
So I'm from New Haven, Connecticut, which we are. I'll even promote this shirt. This is my Scott Fishbowl New Haven division shirt. It has a pizza on it because we are the pizza capital of the world. So if you're gonna come to Connecticut, you come to New Haven. You got to go to Worcester Street. You got to get your Peppies. You got to go to Sally's down the street. We do the pizza tour. So you go to Pepe's, you go to Sally's, and then you drive over to State Street and you get your modern pizza. And if for an extra bonus, if you want to go downtown New Haven, you got to go to get bar pizza.
All righty.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for stopping by and talking with me. You guys can follow John on Instagram at I'm that suppy, or
Yep.
you can follow him on LinkedIn and receive great, amazing advice and tips on content creation. As always, you can follow me on Instagram. Make sure you hit the link below and follow me on Instagram and tell me all about it. And make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you so much, John, for having me. I mean, for
Thank
being.
you. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for having me.
Bye, guys.